Salam, everyone. So, in this short lecture, I'm going to talk about chapter 10, which is Surah Yunus, from verse 57 through maybe 60, just a couple of or three verses that I want to talk about. So, the question is as follows: if God has made things haram or halal, right? Who are we to decide? And that's a real burning question because typically when you go out there, you see everyone talking about, oh, this is haram, you can't do that, that is haram, you can't do that, you can't eat that, you can't do certain things. Let me give you an example. So if you walk into the washroom with your left foot, oh, that's haram. So I've heard and read that in books. Similarly, there's so many other things that, doing this is haram. uh, if women have nail polish on their nails, they cannot pray. It's haram, um, and so forth. So these are fairly common questions, and in fact, really important ones. So what I want to mention here is the fact that God has not made these things haram. Okay, um, and that's exactly what these verses that I'm going to highlight to you. You can kind of take a look at yourself as well. Those of you who don't know my work, I'm an independent scholar of the Quran. I've been at it for over 10 years. It's really a simple book of guidance from God, and it helps, a person understand. All you have to do is just reflect on it and kind of see what this book is saying, what's guiding you. There are certain laws, certain specific laws that we just need to take a look at. So again, this is a perfect example. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, do so right now because I give regular updates to some of these questions and certain excerpts from the Quran once I start to reflect on it. So I'm just going to share my knowledge. If you have any questions, you can post on the bottom description. I'll be glad to help and answer, and we can have a solid discussion. So here's chapter 10, verse 57. It starts with Ya ayyuhan nas, which means, oh mankind, right? So Allah is not talking to a specific person, it's not referring to a prophet, not talking to people of the book. Allah is referring to Ya ayyuhan nas, everyone, right? So, all you people. قَدْ جَاءَكُم مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُم. So there has come to you an exhortation from your Lord. وَشِفَاءٌ لَمَّا فِي الصُّدُورِ, and a healing for what is in the breasts. وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and guidance and mercy for the believers. Now, the next verses, couple of verses, verse 58 and 59, it starts with Qul, right? So now the prophet is being told to say. So God is instructing the prophet, Qul, you say thou, بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ, at the bounty of God and His mercy. فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا, and that let them exalt. هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِّمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ, it is better than what they collect or what they amass themselves. So verse 58 starts with Qul. And here's the verse that I really want to talk about, verse 59. I started off on top so you understand the context a bit better. So now at verse 59, God instructing the prophet again, say, Qul, you say, right? So it's say thou. أَرَيْتُمْ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُم مِّن رِزْقٍ, have you considered what God has sent down for you of provision? فَجَعَلْتُم مِّنْهُ حَرَامًا وَحَلَالًا, so, and you made thereof lawful and unlawful? So it's again a question being asked by the prophet, right? So say thou, أَرَيْتُم, right? Have you, مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُم مِّن رِزْقٍ فَجَعَلْتُم مِّنْهُ حَرَامًا وَحَلَالًا, so have you considered what God has sent down for you of provision, and you made thereof lawful and unlawful? In other words, man or mankind, because verse 57 starts with Ya ayyuhan nas, right? So it's God speaking to mankind, right? So people, mankind, are they the ones who can make things lawful and unlawful? Say thou, Qul, Allahu azina lakum. Did God give you leave? In other words, do you have permission from Allah to make things lawful and unlawful? So it's very clear. Who are we as man or as humans, right, to decide what is haram and what is halal unless explicitly specified by the Quran itself. How can I say, for instance, well, you can't put your left foot up, it's haram? Or how can I say you can't pray, to a woman, you can't pray because you have nail polishes on. Your nails are colored, right? So you got to wash them off before you stand for prayer. It doesn't exist in the eyes of the Quran. So the Prophet is saying, "Qul Allah azana lakum." Did God give you permission? Did God give you leave? Am alallahi taftarun. Or is it about God that you invent? Right? So the word taftarun is uh, comes from iftara, right? Yaftaru or taftarun. So it's all the same word where you're inventing things, you're making up stuff. So who are we to decide what is haram or halal? And is it so that we are inventing things about God, right? Or is it God that you invent things on? And then verse 60, and I'm going to stop after 60. وَمَا ظَنُّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And what will those who invent lies about God think on the day of resurrection? So that's really pretty straightforward. Unless otherwise specified in the Quran, which is I believe in chapter 6 Surah Anam, that's specified those 4 or 5 things that are haram. Everything else should be halal. Everything is halal, in fact, unless Allah has specified in the Quran. Now, coming to the Prophet, right? Notice that the word starts with qul. So the Prophet is saying this. Say thou. Allah is making the Prophet say this. If you have not watched my video on qul, because it occurs 270 times in the Quran, and the Prophet is instructed to say qul, right? So it's not Allah directly saying, because remember, if I scroll up a bit, verse 57 starts with Ya Ayyuhan Nas. So it's Allah or God speaking directly to people, right? Ya Ayyuhan Nas, O mankind. And here, the next verse is a quote. So a prophet say thou. So watch the other video and you'll get the answer. Why is Allah instructing the prophet and not speaking to us directly in the next verse, right? So here the prophet is saying to people, say thou. And then verse 58, 59, both starts with quote. Say thou, say thou. Have you considered what God has sent down for you of provision, and you made their lawful and unlawful? Say thou. Did God give you leave, or is it about God that you invent, right? So this is the prophet, words coming out of the prophet's mouth, specifically being instructed by God. So if the prophet is saying this, how can the prophet then make things haram? There are tons and tons of books and other books of hadith and other literature out there that I've read, and it boggles my mind. If the prophet is being instructed to say this, what you're seeing on the screen, how can the prophet all of a sudden make all of these things haram because they're in the hadith, right? So it doesn't make sense, and it's not, because the prophet can only follow God's instructions. He cannot make things up, right? So I just wanted to bring this up. So in conclusion, we cannot invent or say anything about something that is not haram, which Allah has not made haram in the Quran. Who are we to make it, right? And that's exactly what the Prophet is saying. So take a look at this. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, post in the discussion area. We'll be glad to help. Wassalamu alaikum.